Hello, this is Mr. Pink and Yellow, and I'm here with someone called Gravyland, and he reached out to have a talk with me. And you watched my debate with Alistair, right?
Yeah, I watched a bit of it.
Yes, you watched a bit of it. So basically, me and Alistair had a debate, and I was in his Discord group for like a week before I had a debate with him, so I knew what his group was talking about. And a lot of the time, they'll talk about not being able to afford a family, right? The cost of living, we can't afford a family, we can't get wives into our lives, stuff like that. So I was trying to talk things over with Alistair, and I was trying to explain to him the underlying dynamics of what's going on, why there's more men deselected by women than ever, which is a fact. There's less men having sex than ever, right? That's because men are less economically successful than ever. Okay, there's a direct link. It's a provable link. If you are, there's been studies what women like. Women like financially successful men, and it's been proven that women drive men out of the job market and out of higher education. For example, female teachers downright boys in schools for the same work as girls. The work can be identical, and the female teachers will give them lower scores. Okay, and there's affirmative action in higher education, and women are pushing men out of all the high prestigious jobs due to quotas. And I was trying to explain this to Alistair, and he wasn't interested. And I ended up getting abuse, verbal abuse, off of my hangout in the Discord group as well. So they're complaining about something, and they're not interested at all about the underlying dynamics. They were actually pressuring him at the end to stop talking about this subject because it didn't interest them, even though they talk about not being able to get wives all the time. I've seen his Discord group. I saw it with my own eyes. So there's a contradiction there, as far as I'm concerned. So, what do you want to talk about?
Oh, just first. I like to apologize for some people's behavior, but I
Yeah.
was going to talk about There is quite a few different ways of why men are less economically successful than ever right now, and that is no fault of our own through anything. Right now, we
Right.
are the most productive group we are the most productive society in human history. We have so much technology at our end. We are more productive than they were 6 years ago, is even an example, based on a per capita right there. Doesn't matter if it's men or
Right.
women with automation, with the increase of automation, that has
Yes.
driven up productivity, but wages has stagnated. I mean, here in the United States, the federal minimum wage is still 7.25. It has not moved since 2008. Now, I don't need to tell you, especially over there, that 7.25 an hour does not exactly buy a lot of stuff. I mean, most times I won't even buy for a meal at the cheapest fast food options now. So right now we are living in a post economic situation where wages are not keeping up with inflation, just bad choice after bad choice. And at this point, it doesn't matter who we blame against each other. There's got to be actual reforms, and we, as a group, just need to come to an idea of what we can do to improve it. Truly, I
Right.
think one of the biggest problem is the fact that we went and focused on what can make us the most money versus what makes us the most stable. Right now, there
Right.
is so many kids that are raised by daycare centers. They are not being raised by parents because both parents are working 40, 50 hours a week just to scrape by in a apartment. That is not a healthy
Mhm.
environment for children. That's not going to get people to go.
Right.
That
Yeah.
is actually right now the problem is that no one is financially stable. So if we have no financial stability, we cannot change the culture at all. We can introduce all these new laws tomorrow. We can completely turn over the no fault divorce, going back to, hey, you actually have to have a cause to get divorced. We can
Well, can I
completely scrap.
just interject there because I know a bit about the history of marriage and divorce. One of the reasons why it's not really no fault divorce. First of all, that's an incorrect name. It's a misleading title. It's actually male fault because the male takes on all the liabilities. The problem is when it wasn't no fault divorce. What people used to do is they just used to play the court system and make stories up to try and create a fault and get the divorce. And they actually caused a lot of problems that way. So those practical reasons why they got rid of fault divorce, and there was still divorce going on, right? So it's no fault divorce is not the problem in my opinion. The problem is the woman when she divorces, she gets a cash out and she gets rewarded, so she's incentivized to divorce the man. That's the problem.
Yep, I completely 100% agree with that. That is
Yeah.
one of the biggest issues that I have personally seen in my life. I've
Yeah.
seen relative after relative get divorced, and no matter where you are in life, if a party is rewarded for breaking a contract, they are going to break it. It doesn't matter if it's a marriage contract, a working contract, or even a gig contract. If you reward someone for breaking the contract, it will end up badly, and that is just what's happened. We've had 50 years of people being rewarded for breaking bad contracts, where it
Okay.
should be back to where, because a lot of courts actually toss out prenups now, which used to be a shield to protect them, people's
Yeah.
investment, whether they're male or female, before they go into a marriage. Like if
Yeah.
a man and a woman got married, and the man comes in with 3 houses they inherited, but the woman comes in with 2 houses that she's inherited from her parents. I mean, it's just going to turn into a bloodbath once they get divorced, because depending on how long they've been married, if they have kids, and how entangled the financials are actually, it has just turned into a way for the state to suck out money. It is a way for them to always
The
have money because
state,
they get a part of the cut.
yeah, but that's yeah. They get that. That's not the motive for doing it, though. The motive for doing it is to hand stuff. The motive for doing it is to punish the man and give money to the woman. That's the primary motive. It's not because the state wants to get a cut, right? It doesn't get enough of a cut to incentivize them to do that. They're not doing it for a rational profit motive, right? They're doing it because of feminists have lobbied for that because they want to give women stuff for free at the expense of men. That's the motive. And what is marriage? You've got to understand what at the end of the day, what is marriage? It's a contract. So the woman gets rewarded when it's broken. And even before that, it was a contract designed to make the man support the woman so it would benefit her. So marriage has always benefited women, but due to industrialization, they've changed it because women are more safe to do this than ever. So it benefits women even more. That's the whole point of marriage. So again, like you can reform marriage, right? But it's not going to get men wives or female partners. Do you know what hypergamy is?
Yep.
Okay, so
And
the problem is it's female hypergamy. Women only go with higher status men, or they want to only go with higher status men. Men who earn more, right? The finances is one of the biggest selection criteria for women. Everything else is secondary. There's lots of studies proving this as well. Okay, so in the past, women in poverty married and had large families and pooled the resources with men, right? And lived in extended families. And because of industrialization, women are safer, there's more resources, there's welfare state, which I'm not against because men need it as well, but there's welfare state. And the system is rigged to give women even more, right? Okay. And due to female hypergamy, women are discarding their men. And it leads to single motherhood and it leads to broken families, it leads to divorce, and it's not in the best interest of the kids. And this is going on, and then this is the double whammy. Women are now pushing men out of the job market. Okay, there's some fields where women are starting to out earn men for the same work, right? There's some fields that men can't enter because women, or it's very difficult for them to enter because the women start to gatekeep them. Women are pushing men. There's like more qualified men in STEM and in medical profession, right? They get pushed out for the women, and they just take their space, even though they're less qualified. And let me give you an example. There's been a disaster in the UK. This was like years ago. I think like 10 years ago now. So what happened? They had affirmative action for women and female doctors. They were pushing out qualified male doctors. And what ended up happening is women were specialising less. They're becoming general practitioners more. And they're working part-time more as doctors. And they're retiring earlier. Okay. So what that means is there was a crisis. And the British government had to fly in doctors from Pakistan and pay them, right? And it cost the British government billions. And that has a knock-on effect on Pakistan as well, because Pakistan had a program where they were paying to train doctors, right? And expecting them to work in Pakistan. But what it ended up doing is it ended up coming to the UK instead. So the Pakistan government were losing money. Okay. So there's systematic. I call this if this was being done against a minority group, this would be called systematic structural violence. It would be called an apartheid. It's a gender apartheid in the employment field. So men are being pushed out of the job market at the expense of women. So women being hypergamous are not going to create families with men under this situation. They're not going to get married, right? At the very most, they're going to do hookups, and they're going to compete for the remaining amount of high status men. That's what's going to happen, and that's why the men in Alice's Discord group can't get wives or girlfriends, because they're being economically sabotaged by the feminist states. That's what's going on, and it's done on purpose, as far as I'm concerned. Do you object? What do you think of my analysis there? Do you object to it? Do you have anything to add?
I was just going to add that a lot of we have some similar problems here in the States right now, but instead of it just being for women, it is just devolved into diversity quotas, where they are
Right.
handed by labor laws now. They are handed where you have to have a certain group on their certain representation. We have completely moved away from a merit-based system, and it has been nothing but a disaster. I am of the opinion that I do not care what gender you are. I don't care what skin color you are. I want the best person to work for it. And that's not happening now. Like we've had so many crashes now with the FAA. They are following the diversity quotas and they are completely wrecking everything right in there. I mean, I refuse to fly now. Me or my wife, we have flat out said we will never fly until we actually know that we have someone who our life is in that pilot's hands. Because as soon as you get on a plane or any sort of public transport, you take away your personal safety, your control of the situation, and you put it into the hands of the driver or the pilot. But
Mhm.
I have set out, why would I not feel differently? If someone was a competent person, I won't care what gender it is. It is just turned into a nepotistic circle of we have to fill diversity quotas. We have to fill quotas that we do. We need to arbitrarily check it off, and we have moved away as a society in general away from merit based, which is what every successful civilization bases their entire culture on.
Can I
It
can I
just does not work.
make it? Because I've noticed something about these quotas. Because I've looked at a lot of what I've noticed. A lot of it's white women in these diversity quotas, right? Because I've seen the pictures. I've seen the pictures of like Marvel Comics. And I think Studio 33 and other companies, and it's like mostly white women with a few black women and a few gay men in the group photos, or men who look effeminate. I'm not sure if they're gay or not, right? But it's like literally, there's some companies it's like 80% women. There's some companies where the entire board is now women, right? A lot of like women have taken over publishing. So I'm going to explain to you what diversity quotas are. Okay, so do you know what intersectional feminism is?
If I remember right, isn't that where it is everything is seen through a feminist lens of whether or not it can help or is against it? Or am I off base?
No. So what intersectional feminism is, it was feminism linking itself to minority and queer issues, right? Okay. So what they'll do, like the progressive stack, right? The progressive stack is the more victim you are, the more society needs to help you, and the more prestige you have in their circles. Like if you're a woman, we should pay attention to you more because you're the most oppressed, even though that's not true. So according to the progressive stack, a feminist, a white woman, a rich white woman is more oppressed than a poor black man, according to progressive stack. And I'm not joking about that, right? Okay, because female victimhood trumps everything. So that's part of intersectional feminism. So intersectional feminism, the ideology is incoherent, it's nonsensical, but what it actually is, it's a political strategy. So what it is, we'll link ourselves to these like minority issues, we'll take them over, right, make them about us, and then use them as political pawns. So the main beneficiaries of affirmative action are, in fact, women. They benefit the most at the expense of men, and it's designed that way. And then they'll hire a few token minority males at the most, but it's mostly white women, and then it's black women and other races of women, and then it's a few token males. That's how it works in the UK, and from what I've seen, that's how it works in the USA.
Mhm.
Right. So I've seen all the council government jobs. It's like a lot of places. It's women, 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 women. I've seen it. I've seen the pattern too many times.
I will. I will push slightly back on the idea that they would just hire base for tokens. They, at least here in the states, Might be different over there in the UK, I will fully admit, but here in the United States, they do not give a shit about diversity quotas or anything like that. What their true goal is, what can give them the most money right now. Because when they factor in, like, over great example, maternity leave. I have it
Yeah,
here in the States as a parent. When I become a parent, guess something exclusively offered through my job, but the vast majority of jobs do not offer it. So what
yeah,
they do is when they look at everything up, they add all the numbers up. They look at the total cost broken down over what's going to cost to train someone, how likely they're going to be there, and how much extra bonus they get. Because a lot of these play companies, they get government subsidies for filling the diversity quota. Did you know the actual age of alcohol consumption in the United States is only 21, just because most of the government has threatened to say they will pull funds from states to drop it down to 18. There's nothing legally holding there other than threats.
right.
Everything can be traced back to where money talks when everything else goes. Because right
All right.
now it has gone from a nation and economy built to provide service to strip mining any sort of value. Doesn't matter who they throw in there for the turner, men, women, they turn people against each other. But when you are
Right.
offered government incentives to favor one gender or one specific race, they're going to take it just because it's extra money for themselves. So that is a problem that we've
So,
got to
can
figure
I
out
ask a
before anything
question?
else.
Can I ask a question? So, if it's
Yep.
profit motivated, why did Intel do women in tech?
Because they got both, they get subsidized for it. They
Yeah, but
get subsidized whether on
they wasted hundreds of millions on it, and now they're behind AMD. I'm not saying there's a 100% link. That's not 100% reason, but that's one of the reasons why. Right? They wasted like millions and millions and millions on women in tech. If they're profit motivated, why would they do that?
because a lot of times when a lot of times when businesses fall short, they apply for government bailouts. A lot of up until recently, almost no one in the U.S. government actually looked at what they're signing or stamping of a yes on. It was a lot
Okay,
of those loans that I was about to say a lot of those loans, especially from what I've seen firsthand, was a lot of those loans that were meant to help small businesses and stuff like that to kind of survive the shutdown and everything was
yeah,
absorbed
but
by a lot of these companies.
I'm not talking about small business loans. I'm talking about Intel, a massive corporation who want to make profits. Why did he do women in tech initiative that cost hundreds of millions? And it was
I,
a
I
waste of
was gonna
money.
I was gonna finish it up. A lot of those because a lot of that stuff here can be written as a tax write off. They have the
Right.
initiative program. They go for it. It's a nice tax write off for them, even if it fails, because they can just go out and go, hey, that's not our problem. We tried our best. See, we did it. Just give us money. And a lot of
Okay.
times they're like, okay, go from there. So they
So
can play. They can play around with the diversity quotas. They can favor the gender. They can do as much lip service as they want to, just because they have know that they can always get bailed out, or they can write as a tax write off. So they go
okay.
for what option can be the one that affects them the most, bottom line, culturally and social media wise. If you did not have
All right.
social media, you would not see a ton of this issue.
Okay. So I think a simple explanation is it's just, there's political capture by feminists, these corporations. Isn't that a simple explanation, Occam's razor?
Yep, there are. Yep, it's partly that, and it's just by funding. That's what it is. It's just feminist capture, and whatever they want, whatever gets them the most money, hands down.
But
Whether
it's
it's
not.
feminist today or not, Omar.
But what I disagree with you on is they're not profit motivated. They're not profit motivated at all. They'll burn profits to the ground. And I think it's been proved, especially in the culture and the entertainment industry. There's been a repeated pattern of basically feminists. Feminists will be in the entertainment industry, and when there's enough of them, they'll start introducing girl bosses. They'll change male-centered franchises, right? They'll do these girl bosses, ball-busting, emotionally validating girl bosses. They'll like make the male characters into losers, right? Make them into wimps, right? So they don't appeal to the male audience because male audience wants power fantasy, right? And they keep on doing this over and over again, and they've been doing it at least from Ghostbusters, the remake of Ghostbusters. They did it, and they did it with Star Trek. They did it with Star Wars. They did it with Warhammer. They've done it with countless video games. Okay, too many to count. They've done it with countless TV franchises. They did it with Marvel eventually as well. So Marvel didn't have that nonsense at first, Marvel Cinematic Universe so much, and then they did the next phase of Marvel Cinematic Universe, and then that went to crap. They even had they did put it in the movie, but there's a deleted scene of Captain Marvel torturing a man for no reason and robbing him with his bike, and it was filmed like she's meant to be a hero and it was like meant to be justified, right? So I do not see it the profit motive in this whatsoever. I see a political ideology taking over, and it has it has taken over. It's taken over. It's taken over the legal system. It's taken over the education system. Because look, I'm 44. I remember when I was a kid, men were getting fired from their jobs, right? And a lot of time it was like harassment policies, right? I knew men in the early 90s getting fired from their jobs due to harassment policies, right? They were accused of flirting with a woman and are fired from their job. So the entertainment industry is actually one of the things that the feminists took over last. Actually, they took over the other stuff first. And feminism, feminism, to pander to feminists, to pander to female supremacy, right? Society will burn profits to the ground and be less functional. They don't care. They don't care. They'll damage the education system, the medical system, the government, the legal system, entertainment industry, corporations. They'll burn it to the ground. That's what's going on. And this is why and this is linking to men being driven out of work. And this is easily proven if people just bother to look. So yeah,
sorry to interrupt. And is there a way we can continue this later? I'm still out on call on my one job. I had some contractors show up. I got to show them around, but I am definitely interested in continuing this. I am sorry. I apologize.
Okay, we'll do a part 2 then. Okay.
All right. It's been fun. It's been nice talking to you. I hope this has been a more pleasurable experience than the last debate you got.
Yeah. Okay. Are you there, Alex? You can stop recording.